Hi, good morning. 24 hours has passed since I talked to you last. All right, so where did we leave off? Oh my gosh. I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm getting scared. I'm going away this weekend to my mom's house to visit my mom and see my brand new baby nephew, and my niece is 2 years old, so I get to see her. And this whole making everything thicker situation put everything back a little bit, but that's okay, because this is how we grow. And it's funny, I originally thought that this was going to be kind of like a cop-out because I am using John's plans, but it's turning out to be, I mean, I guess it's a little bit easier, but let's see where we're at now. Okay, so there's like a couple of things I have to do. So I have to break off these dummy rivets and then actually like rivet them to these like arm pieces. Before I do that, like I have to do the final finish on the insides of these. Well, I mean, maybe I should do this next. And then what else do I have to do? I have to drill through these holes. So maybe that's like what I'm gonna do right now, and focus on just those two things and see where it gets me. Because of course, filming everything takes, if everything that you do takes 3 times as long as you think it's gonna take, and then on top of that, when you film it, it takes, I wouldn't say 3 times as long. Maybe it's twice as long when you film it. That just like compounds. So like we'll see how far I get with these few things. So let's get to work.
You got to start off by just looking at the project. Yeah, you can tell I'm kind of like, what do I need to do now? Oh yeah, I decided I needed to soak them in acetone because it was going to be faster to just soak them in acetone to get the super glue off than to try and pick it off or pry it off with a graver or sand it off. And I just poured them in this little hand-blown shot glass. That orange shot glass. My husband made that when he was in college. He took a glass blowing class, so that's why. We don't take shots out of it. I just use it for acetone. It's a little misshapen, but it gets used, so it's kind of cool to use handmade, homemade stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, I'm just getting the right drill bit to put those countersinks in the holes on the arms, because they're going to be flush rivets, so there needs to be somewhere for the rivet stock, the rivet pin to mushroom out into. So more acetone. Okay, for some reason, I took a picture of all of those. Oh, it's probably because, so I realized that I never actually had a studio session where I cut them out. I think I did that on Monday morning before work. I cut them all out and then filed them all. That's why they look so nice. I didn't film that because it was painful enough for me to live through it. I didn't need to make you watch it. But now I'm moving over to the drill press so that I can drill through those rough rectangles that now one side has been Oh, what is that? That's an arm though. That's one of the clamp arms or clamp jaws. Okay, getting the Nikon booted up, and oh, this is probably just me procrastinating. So I'm drilling through these holes in these arms. Oh, I'm drilling through all of them. I'm drilling through all of the things that have been now 3 times as thick, the top sheet or top layer had the hole in it. And so now I'm just drilling the rest of the way through. But yeah, I do think that this is me procrastinating drilling the rough rectangle sandwich apart. Going back over to the bench pin, put the drill bit back, because if you don't put the drill bit back right after you use it, then they just like pile up, and then you have to spend an hour sorting through them all with the drill indexer and putting them back in the holder. This needed a new battery. I think I am also just like waiting for the acetone to take the super glue off of these parts. So maybe I'm not procrastinating as much as I am reading into. Switching. All right, I'm switching over. Oh yeah, so I'm going to hold these. All right, so this is when I'm trying to get the rivet. Since it's not a flush rivet, the idea is that I'd be able to just flush out the situation and both the sides, and then the rivet should just push through because there would be nothing holding it. But I mean, let's be completely honest, metal moves. And so the likelihood, looking back, the likelihood that these are just going to like fall out is very slim. And I'm mature enough to know that now through my experiences. But I think at that time, I was still kind of hoping that they would just push right out. But I had the backup plan of like, well, I'll just drill through them. It's not that big of a deal. Either way, these both faces of these rough rectangle sandwiches need to be completely flat before I rivet them together inside of the 2 arm pieces. So yeah, this is me trying to get it through using the little V in my bench pin. And yeah, I think at that point I just realized, I came to the realization it's not worth it to kill myself or destroy the piece trying to like tap out the rivet. Like, let's just drill it. I'm deburring some holes and probably, I don't know, other pieces. Actively procrastinating. That's a term we should use for when you're doing something that's productive, but you're doing it instead of doing something else that you maybe are nervous about doing. You're actively procrastinating. And so this is, getting... Now the super glue has been all taken off by the acetone, and so just like getting those sides nice and flush and like the finish on the inside of the arms elements to be completely smooth and like I like kind of this like brushed finish. What? Brushed steel or brushed nickel, I guess. Because that's literally what it will be. That fell, and as it fell, it turned out the light. And then as it fell and turned out the light, it came unplugged and it turned off. That was like, I don't know what time it is in the morning. Like, it's before I go into work, but it probably was like 6:45 a.m. And I'm like, I can't believe that this is actually my real life right now. Just like oh my goodness. Yeah, so I think then I'm just like, okay, put in a center punch. We're gonna drill. Look at my face. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna drill through them. I'm calling it. getting the other arm elements and out of the acetone and getting the burrs off of the corners of those. Because up until just recently, those had been super glued together. And so I had still burrs on the corners and the edges, because that's what happens when you have something super glued together and then you flush the edges. All right. Put the acetone cup in the sink. Oh, I spilled some. Wipe it up immediately. Pretty much evaporated by the time I got the rag over there anyways. So I just looked around to make sure all the cameras were still booted up. I'm moving everything over because I'm gonna drill. Yeah, you've seen this before. Getting the drill at the right, height and everything. Drilling out the rivet. Here we go. And I got my little pin. And now I'm gonna hold it really tight and drill through the other three, using the top sheet as the lineup guide. And now I'm gonna do it again, but I'm gonna move the camera so I get a different angle for this for this time around. All right, all the way through that rivet. And then line up the top arm with one pin in all layers, and then all the way through. Yeah, so I have it started. Is that all the way through? Yeah, it must be all the way through. Doing the tango with my tripod. I should do a video of all of the things that I use in my studio while I'm filming that make my filming experience more enjoyable, because that tripod is definitely one of them. Or the tripod rolly base, is one of them. Okay, got a little tiny drill bit, and I'm taking the burrs from off of all of the holes. So you see, even though I drilled through the pin, the dummy rivet, they all still came apart. Measuring how thick they are so that I know, okay, how thick of and now this is going to be the real deal. This is a flush rivet, so it's got to be a little bit longer. And this is the longest, I think, of anything that I've riveted yet in this project, because it's 5 layers of the 1 millimeter nickel sheet. So I'm cutting the rivet pin, fleshing out the rivet pin, taking the burr off of it. Do you have this process memorized by now? I don't know. If you haven't watched the other episodes, I feel like I should at least explain it once at the beginning, or the first time I do it in every single studio session, so that anybody just coming in, if you're just joining us now, let me tell you about rivet pins. Oh, I needed another memory card or something for that camera. Yep, memory cards. Gotta keep these studio session surveillance cameras going. Okay, what am I sanding? What element is it? It's something I can really hold. Maybe it's one of the sandwiches of all 3 rough rectangles. This song kind of reminds me of Santana a little bit. I mean, it reminds me of other things too, but one specific Santana song. I really...
Hi. All right. Guess what time it is? It's coffee time. Almost. I've gotten to this point where all of these have been drilled through. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I was like reviewing some footage the other day, and like my reaction I fill in kind of like your reactions as I'm explaining it. So I'll be like, look at that. Oh, wow. It's something that I do unintentionally, but I don't know if it's annoying, but golly gee, that looks fantastic. When I was drilling through, I used one of these little arms, and so the first thing that I did was I center punched where the rivet was, and instead of trying to like kill the piece to get the rivet out, I just like drilled through it again. Like, it's gonna be fine. It all fell apart anyway, so all the pieces. So I just center punched the best I could in the center of the sterling silver little rivet, and then I drilled through there, and then I had this little dummy rod of sterling silver that's the same size as the rivet, and I put it through the arm and through all three of the other arms, and then I actually stuck it in a hole in the drill press wooden block, so it was like all the way through. And then I drilled using the top one as kind of like my guide. I drilled through the rest of the three of them. And at one point I know I took it to the side and then kept drilling through because this one was like wobbling, and like I was holding it with just like the little tips of my fingers, and I was like, okay, how's the best way that I can hold this in the most sturdy way? And it was to swing that to the side. And so now they're all the way through. And the reason why I didn't rivet that together and then drill through the other side is because the other side arm already had a hole in it. And so it was like the best way that I could think of at the time to not minimize my error, but it was like there's gonna be human error, and also like there's gonna be slight inconsistencies. And so what was the best way that I could like, make it happen? And so that happened, and it ended up having a little bit of a slant in there, which is fine because as long as all three of them are consistent, then it doesn't matter. But when I was doing the other one, here I'll pull it onto the bench so that for dramatic effect. When I was doing this other one, I made sure that it had that slant as well. So they'll be like more of a matching pair. I mean, I didn't like measure the angle or anything. I just like eyeballed it and was like, yeah, that's about the same. And then I cut the rivets that are gonna rivet all of them together. So I gotta cut 2 more of these rivets. But to be completely honest, I'm very fried right now because of this like going home on this trip. Like, it's all fine. It's just like I really just want this to go off without a hitch. And so it'll be best if I wait and actually rivet these things like when I'm back and it's like calm. But there are other tasks that I can do that like no matter what, knock on wood, I'm probably not gonna mess it up. And so I'm just gonna focus on those. So like one of the things that like knock on wood, I'm probably not gonna mess up is the like sanding of all of these components, to get them to the final finish. This is getting close to the final finish that I'm going for. So this one you can see is still got some little indentations, and so it's just like sanding and sanding and sanding, and I have to do that for these ones as well as these ones as well as these ones. So I've got like maybe a half an hour before I have to leave, and so I might just like go make some coffee and then come back down here and sand them until they're ready. Until they're ready. Until it's done. Until they're like at the final finish. So, that's where we're at right now. And it feels good. Like, now that I have those little arms figured out, it feels good. We're still not out of the woods yet, guys, though. This is a major endeavor. Which usually everything that I do in my studio is a major endeavor, but I don't usually do things, well, that's a lie, because the earrings that I did, that had a deadline. I have a mixed relationship with deadlines, I guess. So that's all. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna call it for us today. And so thanks so much for keeping me company this morning. And I'm excited that this is coming together as well. Like, maybe I'll start doing more studio sessions in the mornings before I go to work. I don't know. I'm pretty tired. I'm masking it. I'm masking my exhaustion. But thank you. As always, I love you. And I really enjoy making these videos for you. So even as I'm working, I'm thinking like, okay, are these good angles? Oh, that camera battery died. Oh, I gotta go replace that camera battery. So yeah, just the fact that you are interested in watching these, like, gives me a sense of purpose. So it's something that, with my kind of current depression that I'm dealing with right now, having a sense of purpose is really important. And so thank you for giving me a sense of purpose, for keeping me company in my studio, keeping me motivated, and yeah, keeping me feeling alive, I guess. So I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay. Mwah! And then what? And then where did I say? And then, in a complete act of desperation. Oh my goodness. What is my life right now? I'd like to dedicate this song to my ironclad crew on Patreon.
Could even be my friends again, since there ain't nobody else
I might need to soak these in acetone.